I'm back, but with another book haul. Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Now, today I'm here with another book haul. I know I keep doing book hauls. But honestly, I just keep getting books in the book mail, and also because I tend to go shopping a lot and I tend to treat myself a lot. So I have a lot of books actually from this haul that I actually bought for myself. In Canada and the UK, there's a holiday called Boxing Day, and it's not really a holiday because you don't get time off for the day, but it's the day after Christmas, so it's always on December 26th. And that day, I plan to do a lot of Boxing Day shopping. And so far, I've been collecting a lot of books because I've been treating myself for the holidays. Me and my friends and my family don't actually celebrate Christmas, but in return, I actually just buy gifts for myself. So a lot of these books I have purchased for myself, and yes, it is hurting my wallet, but I am loving every single purchase, and I'm excited to read every single one of these books. So the first book that I purchased is actually from a local used bookstore here in Toronto. It's called BMV Books. So if you are ever in Toronto, or if you live in a city close to Toronto, definitely go check out BMV Books near downtown Toronto. And this book is called How to Stop Time by Matt Haig. And I believe this is about a male character who has the power to live for a very long life. He's been living for hundreds of years now, and he looks the same. He doesn't age, and he has magical powers such as that. But the only rule that he has is that he can't fall in love, and if he does fall in love, then he automatically kind of loses his power, and he lives a very mortal life where he does pass away and die. So I'm intrigued by this book. I feel like it has a mystery and thriller and also like romance element into this. So I'm excited to pick this one up very soon. So the next book that I bought is Bring Me Back by B.A. Paris. Now this is also another used book from the bookstore BMV Books. And honestly, I have been in the mood for thrillers very recently. I watch a lot of like psychological and thriller Korean movies, and they're the darker the better. So now I'm into reading a lot of dark thrillers. So I picked up this one because this seemed really intriguing to me. It's about a boy who has a girlfriend that goes missing for 10 years. Like basically she's gone and he doesn't know what to do. So he goes and moves forward with his life like everyone does. And he ends up marrying his girlfriend's little sister. And then 10 years later, clues are revealed, and now I think he's a suspect in what happened of the missing case. And also, I don't know if the sister actually comes back. So the next book that I picked up is also a thriller novel and is called No Exit by Taylor Adams. And I think this book was fairly popular because I did see it in a lot of the bookstores, and I did browse through a lot of the publishers' catalogs, and I noticed that this one stood out to me a lot. So I'm glad that I picked this book up for $9 as compared to the retail price of $24 Canadian. So this one is about a girl who is going home, and she is traveling in this like very dark road. The weather is terrible. There's a snowstorm. Everybody doesn't know what they're doing. So she thinks that it's very dangerous. So she pulls off to the side where there is a diner, and she notices that the car parked beside her has a little girl put in a cage. And now she has to solve the mystery and solve who done it and who did this to this poor child. And there's only 9 people in the diner or something, and she has to eliminate the people inside the diner to figure out who is so cruel and who might actually be a killer as well. Moving on to the other books that I purchased. I actually purchased them today because I was at the mall and I was kind of like feeling bad for myself that I had to work a little bit on my holidays. So I decided to pick up some books as well before the Boxing Day holiday, and where everybody's in the stores and I can't get what I need. So I figured just do my shopping a little bit earlier. So I picked up 3 books because Chapters Indigo has a sale going on where they sell their clearance books for 3 for $10. So I found 3 books that I had never seen before, and I thought that were very cute and very interesting and something that I might actually read. So the first book that I picked up is The Big Dreams Beach Hotel by Lily Bartlett. And actually this book is about a girl who owns this hotel, and it's on this strip where it's a very touristy location, but she realizes that like a lot of the buildings next to her hotel is slowly slowly starting to change and lose its special quality vibe. So I feel like that this would be actually a very cute, like fluffy summer read. It's not too thick, and the font size in this book is actually pretty big. So I'm intrigued by it. And they also gave me like a bunch of coupons and bookmarks, I think, and great. Now I get to go shopping more. The next book that I bought is actually Ginny Moon by Benjamin Ludwig. And you know what? Upon closer inspection, I actually bought a really bad copy because this one's actually bent down the middle. But if you know me, I don't really care about the state of my books as long as it's still readable and as long as the covers are still attached. I don't really care if the spine is cracked or if there's like broken edges. I'm just weird like that. Like, I don't really care if the book is perfect or not. It's perfect to me if I can still read it, and that's why I don't worry too much about used copies as well. So this book is interesting to me because it's about a girl, and I think it's like kind of like borderline YA novel, but not really. But it's about a teenage girl who is autistic, and she lives with her very abusive mother, and she gets put in a foster home, and then finally she moves into a permanent family where she hatches a plan to steal, to lie, and to do everything she can so that I think she can get out of there and even fake her own kidnapping. So the comments on the back of this book are quoted from a lot of famous authors, and they're all saying it's very quirky read, and I don't think it's as dark as everybody thinks it is. So I'm intrigued by how I would take on this book and see if I like it or not. I tend to really like stories and movies about people who are on the spectrum because I just think it's very interesting and the characters are interesting as well. So the last book that I bought for 3 for $10 is also by Lily Bartlett, and this book is called The Big Little Wedding in Carlton Square. Now, this is a book about a couple who got recently engaged and their like deal with putting on the wedding and how everybody and everything is going into a chaotic mess, and now she has to figure out and plan her own wedding so that it could be perfect. I thought that this would be a nice little fluffy read as well, even though it's not that little and it's like pretty thick. I read a couple pages and I thought it was pretty like wacky, and I thought it was pretty cute, so I'm excited to read this one as well. So the last book that I purchased today is called The Hunting Party by Lucy Fowley, and honestly I don't know why I purchased this book. I think I was just at Walmart, as you can see from the giant sticker here. I got 40% off of the cover price of $24, so this was only $14, which is not cheap at all in my sense. Like, I don't think it's that cheap, but I purchased this because, like I said before, I was really into thrillers and psychological thrillers, and this one is about, I think, a dinner party where there's like a list of couples and a list of people, and then one of these friends is a murderer, and one of them won't make it out alive. So it does sound intriguing, it does sound interesting, but if you were to ask me honestly, like, would you actually like read this? Would this be at the top of your list? No, it wouldn't. So I kind of like regret buying it, but I also not, because I love books anyways. But it's just like, Lisa, you could have just, you know, picked a better book, but I just wanted to buy a book, and there it is. That's the reason why. I just wanted to buy a book, so I bought a random book. There it is.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they...
So moving on to the next book that I actually purchased, it's a very glossy and pretty one. So this is called The Genevieve Deception by Kristen White. And now Kristen White is actually a YA author that I've read when I was a teenager. I remember I was like in grade 9 and 10, still in my high school years, and I read her series with Paranormality and like the other series, and I really enjoyed it. Back then I was really into supernatural YA fiction, and I just remember her being a fantastic author and always like intriguing me and always keeping my attention and just making me feel love and making me want to read more of her books. So when I saw this in the store near my building, I had to buy it because I was like, it's so pretty, it's so glossy, and the person who works in the store is actually a friend, so she was kind enough to give me her discount. So I actually bought this book for pretty cheap, and I really enjoy it, and I really thank her for that, because I would have never purchased this for full price, especially because it is $25 Canadian, which, because like it's a hardcover, so I get it, but I would definitely not buy a hardcover for full price because it's just too expensive for me. I actually have no idea what this book is about, but a lot of my followers have been coming into my DMs and telling me that I made a very good purchase because this one was very enthralling and really good. And as I can tell, I think it's a YA fantasy too as well, and I think it's in the medieval times, as by her crown and her cape and like all like, you know, the like the cross, like the Christian cross signs. So continuing with my theme of thriller and like psychological stories, there's actually a category now on Amazon called financial thrillers. And I read The Escape Room, and I keep talking about The Escape Room, but I read The Escape Room, and that was a financial thriller, and I really freaking enjoyed it. So I'm really excited to look into this category of financial thrillers. So this was one of the books that was in the category. It's called The Prince of Risk by Christopher Reek. And I read a lot of the reviews on Amazon because I know nothing about thrillers. I know nothing about psychological thrillers, and I don't know which author is good, which author is bad. I know a lot of popular ones, but I actually don't know if they're good or not. So I'm scared of diving into their books, and it's a completely new to me genre. So I count on the Amazon reviews to tell me if it's a good book. So everybody in the Amazon reviews told me that this book was so good. It was so fast paced. It was such a clever novel. So I'm excited to read it. And this hardcover book was actually on sale for only $10, and the paperback was $9. So I was like, of course I'm just gonna get the hardcover. So this book is about a hedge fund manager who is doing very well for himself because he has a father who is very good at his job and who's on like the board of directors or like something like really high up in a very, very big investment company. And he's just kind of like nepotism, and he's just kind of like living his life off of his father's like connections and off of his father's money basically too as well if he ever falls short. But then suddenly everything changes when his father is murdered, and then now he has to find out who murdered his father. And it just seems like an interesting story. I don't know if I have time to get to it during my holiday break, but I'm gonna see if I can. It's very heavy, so I'm actually just gonna put this down right now, but definitely check it out if you're interested into financial thrillers. So now we're moving into the packages that I received from publishers and also from authors themselves. So occasionally some authors do come into my email addresses and inbox, and they send me their pitches of their new debut novels or of their new books. And one of the authors actually came into my inbox. I usually take a brief glance at the stories, and then I see if I like it or not. And if I don't, then sorry, I kind of decline it. But if I do, I definitely will sign up for it and do the best as I can to promote the books. So this one's actually from one of the authors. So I actually saw this book on Instagram before, and I thought it was so cute. Like the cover is gorgeous. It sounds like it's going to be a great romantic contemporary novel. So this one's called The Dating Charade by Melissa Ferguson, and I believe that this book is already out already, so you can definitely purchase it. So this book is about a girl who goes on a lot of dates, but the dates tend to be very bad dates. You know, nothing really goes her way. The dates are creepy themselves. Like she's having trouble finding the one. All of a sudden on her dating profile, she matches with the firefighter called Jet Bentley, and basically I believe that they were friends before, or they were acquaintances before back when they were young. And then now she's like freaking out because she and him actually matched, and it's basically about their love story and how they're going to find each other and fall in love. I absolutely love firefighters. I think they're very handsome heroes, all of them in their gear. So I'm excited to check out this book and read it as well. So the next package that I received is actually from another author, and it came in like a package like this, but then it also came in separate wrappings, and I was like ecstatic about it, and I wanted to open it, but then I was like, okay, I'm doing a book haul anyways, I might as well unbox it in front of you guys. So this one is actually from the author Erin Kinsella, and she is a new to me author as well. She pitched to me her story, which is, I believe it takes place in Seoul, South Korea, and I was like, I'm good, let's go, because I love K-pop, I love Korean culture. I'm not Korean, but I want to read more stories based in Korea, so let's go ahead and unbox this. So this is how the book looks like. It's a little bit glossy, so I'm sorry if the sun's like hitting it, but it's called Heart and Soul by Erin Kinsella. So this one is a story about an author who wrote a very great book that is suddenly getting adapted into a movie. So she has to fly to Seoul, South Korea to consult on the set, and then she meets a guy who is in the biggest K-pop groups in the business, and he is starting to lose his passion in music. You know, things are changing, the industry is changing him, and then they meet and they fall in love, and then now it's this whole thing because it's kind of like a scandal for a a boy group member or for a female group member, like an idol, to get to be dating, because it's like forbidden, and like literally all your fans will hate you if you start dating someone, because it ruins the imagination, the fantasy that you can date the idol. So usually agencies discourage their artists to start dating. So this one seems like it's going to be a very romantic read and also filled with a lot of drama. She also sent me this other package and I can't wait to open it as well. She wrote that it was a character art. It's freaking gorgeous, everybody. Like, take a look at this. Like, I don't know who these characters are, but this guy looks really good looking. Like, oh boy, we in it to win it. This boy group, this fake boy group is so good looking. Like, what? Like, why is everybody so good looking? I'm in love. Like, I am in love. Like, this is good character art that like I've never seen before, and I'm so impressed by it. I don't know if she actually sells the character art, but I think this is like worth money as well. And then behind, she actually wrote all the bios like of who they are and like their age and like their zodiac signs and like, you know, little short descriptions of who they are in the story. And I'm in love. I think this is like a great companion to the novel, because sometimes names are hard to remember and you actually don't know who the characters are, but little character cards like this definitely do help, and especially also because the names are Korean names, and I find that Korean names are very hard to remember. Even like my favorite artists and my favorite actors, it takes a long time for me to remember how to spell their names and how to say their names, so this is definitely helpful. If you guys are a K-pop fan or K-drama fan or just K-culture fan, definitely check out this book and follow all her social media handles. So the next book that I got from the publisher is actually from the Harlequin publicity team, and it is a like medieval urban fantasy novel called Blood and Blade by Lauren Dane, and this is actually part of their Instagram tour group. And I never read any Lauren Dane novel, and I don't know what it entails. So the last book that I received from a publisher and in this haul is Time of Our Lives by Emily Wimberly and Austin Siegmund Broca. But if you guys are not familiar with these two authors, they're actually engaged or they're actually married. So it's a couple writing a novel, but this one is a modern retelling of a Shakespeare play, and I don't know which one this one is a modern retelling of, so I'm sorry and I apologize for that. But I read the first book from Emily and Austin and I absolutely loved it. I mean, like, the book was based on this play that had a lot of assholes as characters, and I felt that they were very genuine to the story and that they created a lot of characters who were flawed and who were actually assholes, and you couldn't like really be side with them because that's how Shakespeare created them, like as flawed humans and flawed characters. And they did a great job of replicating that and also putting it into the modern world with some twists. They actually wrote a second book, but I never read the second book yet, but this is actually the third book from them, and I'm very excited to read this. So if you are a Shakespeare fan, definitely check out this author and check out all of the books in their series. So that is it for all the books that I received this week and all the books that I bought myself for this week. I plan to buy a ton more books because the Christmas holidays are coming and the Boxing Day shoppings is happening. So definitely subscribe and definitely give me a like if you like my book hauls and if you want to see more of these hauls. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye. Can't let you go.